On the first Friday of each month, we present the latest installment of our year-long series on Oklahoma's historic Black frontier towns. You may not realize it, but these towns are being studied and visited by academics and tourists from around the world because they truly represent a unique piece of not just Oklahoma, but American history. This month, Steve Shaw shares the story of Redbird, Oklahoma. Steve?
Rich, the town of Redbird originated as a small settlement in Wagner County in the late 1800s, at least partially because of those black settlers' proficiency with agriculture. The small town thrived for many decades. The source of Redbird's decline was familiar. You wanted to show me, I want to see which one is your aunt.
My aunt, right here. That's Ludora.
She's still alive.
She is still alive. That's the one that's 102.
Delma Smith was born in Redbird on New Year's Eve, 1932. Franklin Roosevelt had just defeated Herbert Hoover in a landslide in response to the Great Depression.
Yes, that was the best thing that ever happened to this town.
Smith's a walking encyclopedia when it comes to this proud little town.
We're here, and we're not going anywhere. We're here. I love Redbird. So I still live on land that my mother and father purchased in the 40s.
Redbird got its name, at least partially, because of the fact there were so many cardinal birds or redbirds in the area back in the day. The town sits along the Missouri-Kansas-Texas or MKT Railroad, 34 miles southeast of Tulsa in Wagner County. Redbird once boasted a train station, 2 cotton gins, a lumber yard, a blacksmith, a syrup mill, hotels, even a casket factory. The first school opened here in 1913. Redbird's rich history also came with a lot of heartache. During the 1920 Tulsa Race Massacre, Redbird reportedly was the first black town whose residents stood guard on the MKT Railroad tracks and protected other blacks who had fled and fought back against the racist and killers who had driven them there. In the early 1920s, after he'd been excluded from voting in a handful of elections, Redbird resident I.W. Lane sued for that right. He took it all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court and won the historic case.
Thank God somebody fought for us.
68-year-old Edna Davis is Delma Smith's daughter. She says she also remembers the Ku Klux Klan burning down her grandmother's house 6 decades ago.
It's hard to believe that somebody here couldn't vote. It's hard to believe that when the race riots came out, that some of my neighbors and friends that I have now got in the back of a truck and City of Tulsa turned them around and said, no, you can't go to Tulsa and protest. You got to go back to Redbird and keep your mouth shut. Some of those people are still living. And that still hurts.
It sounds to me like there's some people in the world that like to turn around and go back to that time.
Yes.
That's our history. And we put it out so that people can see.
But there were so many good memories and good times that flowed from the town of Redbird, too. Keith Ties is Redbird born and raised. He's a National Guard veteran who went on to a 20-plus year career as an over-the-road heavy truck driver. an odyssey that took him all over the U.S. and then some.
What was that like?
It was an experience. I was young and dumb and ready to go. I never got home every 7 days, maybe, sometime 2 weeks, but
Keith says he came back to Redbird 12 years ago to care for his dying mother and stayed.
especially because of our upbringings, things that we were raised to learn and do. Children nowadays won't ever get to experience it, and they'll never have the respect that we have because of the way we were raised here in Redbird. This small community has put out some giants, and they come from people that loved us and raised us well.
We were raised to respect each other, to work, and to go to school. And that's what we did. Everybody disciplined you when you were wrong. You could get the backhand of hallelujah from any adult that saw you out there doing something you had no business.
Delma Smith says Redbird's population decline began when World War II began. Many in the town that once boasted over 1,000 sought work in larger population centers where there was an explosion of good-paying industrial jobs, but also jobs that eventually died out and went away.
That's what started, yes, that's what started it. Started the migration.
More than 8 decades later, Redbird's population hovers around 160.
Redbird's post office officially closed back in 2014. But they still make do with a mailroom.
We also post town events or surrounding area events in there as well.
Daryl Moore is Redbird's mayor.
I don't mind helping out anybody that's in need, and I consider everybody in Redbird my family, so.
You're not mayor because of the money.
That was a good one. No, absolutely not.
Moore says there are signs of a Redbird rebirth. In the past 10 years, the town has used several grants to transform what used to be a concrete basketball court into an air-conditioned community center.
We've been able to host events just for the town. We have had our Christmas parties in here, some Thanksgiving get-togethers. People have rented it out for birthday parties, baby showers. People have used it for wakes, funerals. We have a cemetery out on 181st Street. Just town events we have. We'll utilize the park and this building for a cooling station. It's made a big difference in what we've been able to do out here for the town.
The old town hall building is being renovated into a museum. Water and gas systems are being renovated, and the mayor says business people are kicking the tires on ventures to establish a new thrift shop, barber shop, and maybe even a new grocery store.
So don't sleep on Redbird.
Right. Yeah, we're coming back. We're coming back. Say it's a slow process, but we're doing everything we can.
Moore says even today, Redbird doesn't forget and draws strength from I.W. Lane, whose name also adorns street signs here.
Absolutely. It's good to know that somebody from here can make that much of a change for everyone. I mean, it goes without saying, somebody always has to come from somewhere to make a change, and anybody can do it, just nobody will. So for somebody to actually stand up, not for just for themselves, but for everybody else, it's incredible.
By the way, Daryl Moore's grandmother is Delma Smith. Coming up next month, Rich Lenz travels to Grayson, Oklahoma to check out their famous Gumbo Festival. Rich, sounds delicious.
I can hardly wait. Thank you very much. Great work, Steve.